been like, oh, video games are evil, they're of the devil, blah, blah, blah. Truth is, when I was 10, I started playing video games because my eyes were wandering, and like, I don't know if this is still accurate, but for some reason my eye doctor thought playing video games would help my eye focus better. And I don't know, my eyes like don't wander anymore, so maybe it worked.
Yeah, that's an entire podcast episode right there alone on when you realize that point that if your kid keeps saying to you, "Daddy's always working," that tears me apart whenever I hear that Daddy, he can't do it, he has to work. And I've heard those words come out of my oldest child's mouth, my second child's mouth. So I'm with you on that one.
Yeah.
And while we're at it, I think you have just dispelled this legend or this myth that video gamers, don't find success in the dating field, because you have a family now and you have someone that is a special someone. I had a girlfriend when I was playing video games. So for those of you out there who think that video gamers don't get it, we do. We actually have we have social lives too. Proudly. Anyways, I don't know where that came from.
Yeah, no, I think strongly. Like I am Christian, and I've been at church before where people have been like, oh, video games are evil, they're of the devil, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
Truth is, when I was 10, I started playing video games because my eyes were wandering, and like, I don't know if this is still accurate, but for some reason my eye doctor thought playing video games would help my eye focus better. And I don't know, my eyes like don't wander anymore, so maybe it worked. But for health reasons, I got into video games when I was young. And actually, my wife and I bonded quite a bit over playing Zelda Breath of the Wild, that game that I was saying you got to try if you haven't.
Nice. Awesome.
And there's a lot of parents too who will be like, I'm not going to let my kids play games. And I think that there's balance in all things, if your kid's first experience to video games is they were a bad thing, they move out of the house and now they're a bad thing, that could end poorly too,
Yeah, that's true. It's true. And you could just do it all day, every day, forever, to the extent of just you're kind of socially just in your room by yourself all the time. There could be that to the far extreme.
Yeah, that's definitely out of balance as well. And, though there are some people who have a career in playing video games, and that really is work for them. And I've been working with a lot of those people lately, like Twitch streamers and influencers. And I think that if that's, if people through video games are doing something great, like it's more than a hobby, they're making something out of it, that's something that shouldn't be diminished either.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm with you. I'm in this judgment-free place as well. That if someone does, let's just say it's video games or painting or sports or music or whatever their interest or passion lies, it's who am I to judge it? If it gives them joy and it impacts the world in a positive way, I'm all for it. So, of course, I'm all for video games too. But we're in a video game space right now. We're talking about how you maybe got to a place where you had to figure out I need to do more work and commit to that, or I need to figure out how to delegate. You're in that space. So if you could take us to that place and move forward, please.
Yeah. So
Matthew.
Going back to the business. So eventually I started to realize that I needed to change something because when I first started my business, the service-based business, I felt like I was doing it to change the world and I was helping people and people were improving. And after that emotional damage that came and where I was current, I felt like I was just trying to make money and try to keep people from being sad and from losing their jobs. But like there wasn't as much this sense of fulfillment from it. Though, we were building great sites for large, awesome, reputable companies that have been successful. So, I could have had that, but I was just feeling burnt out a little bit. And I needed to be there for my family. And that feeling happened at really good timing because I then decided, I need to sell this business and bring it to someone who maybe is in an emotional spot to take it to the next level. I recognized I wasn't at the time. So I did, and I was able to sell it. So then I was, 29, and I had successfully sold a business for a good amount where I could, get some fixed income and have stability with my family pretty much indefinitely if I wanted to. And, at first that was a really good thing. And I was able then to come home and like breathe and like really see my kids for the first time in a while and like spend a Saturday with them. And it, like getting away from it was amazing. Um, but just at that moment, tragedy, then stroke. And I think it was a blessing from, whether you want to call it God or karma or whatever, that I was able to sell the business at the time I did, because just months after then, we had a newborn who we had for, who was born with some genetic issues.
Okay.
And we went to the hospital with him like daily. And his kidney started to grow, big enough that his body couldn't handle it, and he wasn't digesting food right, and he eventually found out his mental capability wouldn't be um, very much at all, and then he started having breathing problems and flatlining, and so we would spend the day at the hospital, like pretty much every day there, being with him, also trying to help our other kids through what they were going through. And sadly, he did pass away. And after that, it was like everything I just shared doesn't even matter. Like, perspective changed. Before that, I wanted to help my kids be successful at business like I was. I wanted to, all this stuff I'm sharing that seemed like coming from a place of pride, almost like I did this, all just meaningless. And like, that's where I am now, honestly. Like, I could keep going on about like what I built in business, and people ask me questions, but at this point, I'm like, what does it, matter? Because life is fragile. And, um, in a heartbeat, I would give up everything that I've built from past till now to have my kid be okay. So yeah. Now, naturally, after that happened, we
Matthew, how long ago was this when
sorry, go
this
ahead.
happened? How long ago was it when this happened?
This was about 8 months ago. So it's still,
8 months.
and I think it always will be fresh, but it's still fairly recent.
Yeah. Yeah.
So after this happened, we there was so much I learned, and I wish I had gotten therapy like immediately. And I say that literally having gotten therapy like 2 days ago for the first time.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yes. Okay. Literally 2 days ago, I finally got therapy for the first time. Before that, I was listening to podcasts. Which helped a ton. And like John Broman's podcast was incredible. Like I've listened to your podcast a bunch now, and everything on it, I'm like, man, I wish I'd found this one sooner. It's really great stuff. But I wish I had gone to therapy, because we met with him 2 days ago, and he just shared with us like stuff it took me 10 months to learn, and they were 10 really hard months.
Yeah.
So I would recommend immediately doing that from my experience. And the hard thing though is, after you go through something like this, something ground shattering, is everything kind of freezes up. Like, I think the stages of grief from my experience are not totally accurate to like the loss of a loved one. And I've done some research on it. actually the stages of grief were made for like acceptance of a death sentence for yourself.
Okay.
And that feels accurate to me because though emotions from it happen, it's not like the order in which they happen. Really, the way it ended up happening for me was at first it's just like a fog, like you kind of know what happened. It's not
Okay.
really denying it, but like you're just processing all the time. And by the time you wake up from that fog is the point at which your community kind of starts to dissipate. And that's one of the challenges, I think, especially in America. Like I know
Yeah.
there's other countries where like they'll give people months to grieve, right? But in America, you got like three days, and then back to work.